Hey everybody, how's it going? It's the Daily Shooter, and today we're going to be taking a look at what I would consider to be the best backup iron sights on the market today. These are the C4 Precision backup iron sights from Ultradyne. Let's go ahead and check them out. Now, the C4 flip-up iron sights are definitely very unique. It's something that I've never tried before. And that, you might be thinking to yourself, how's that possible? They're just folding iron sights. But they have a feature on them that really do kind of set them apart from everything else on the market. I typically use the polymer Magpul flip-up sights, or I use the Magpul M-Bus Pro steel iron sights. These are also steel iron sights right here. But the traditional steel iron sights use a peep in the rear and then a front side post, and you kind of have to try and align that front side post in the peep in order to get good parallax and kind of center everything so that you get a nice and accurate shot. These are different because it has a standard peep in the back, but in the front it actually has a second peep. So it actually has a hole, or a kind of like a balloon shape in the front of the sight post that allows you to look through the peep in the rear all the way through the hole in the front. So you can actually see part of your target through that front sight post. The interesting thing about it is it allows for perfect parallax adjustment, because what you can do is you can look through the rear sight, align it with the front sight hole, and once you have those two holes squared away, you know that your parallax is perfect and you can take a more accurate shot. So these are actually meant to be precision iron sights. Now, they're still backup sights. I prefer to use a red dot. But if you're talking about using something for precision and you want something like this in a standard, steel fold-up sight, then it's a really impressive system that they have here. Everything from the way that you adjust them, the way that you have the windage and elevation set up, to that front sight post, which is actually interchangeable. It comes with a 12 MOA front sight, which is kind of weird to say because typically when you're talking about front sight posts, you're talking about a solid bar again. But this has a 12 MOA hole in it, which allows you to see about 12 inches of your target at 100 yards. So it is a very unique sighting system. Now, the way that you adjust these sights is also very interesting, because instead of using like a standard front sight tool where you have to kind of put it in there and then, make your adjustments, this actually has a really unique system where you actually just push down on the ears. See if I can show you guys that. You push down on the ears, and what that does is it elevates that front sight post and allows you to turn it with your fingers. And then when you release the ears, you bring them back up, it recenters everything. So not only do you get your perfect adjustment and being able to do it without a tool, but it also recenters that little hole that's in the center right there. So it recenters everything and gets you right where you need to be. So it's very easy and it's completely toolless, and I just absolutely love the way that they have this thing set up. Another thing that I really like is that on the back of the rear sight, they actually have, your adjustments for windage. They have your adjustment for elevation as well, meaning that this sight, little sight peep right here, which is dual aperture, so you can open it up and make the aperture a little bit larger. You can lift it up, you can lower it down, change your windage, change your elevation, and they also have preset notches on here for like ballistics. Okay, so if you're going to be shooting standard 55 grain or a 62 grain 5.56, I got to look up, I forget which one it's actually set for, but you can go from 100 yards, 200 yards, 300 yards, and so forth, just simply by going to that specific hash mark, which is located on the back of the sight. So let's say that you have this thing zeroed in for 25 or 100 yards, right? And you want to stretch it out to 300 yards. All you have to do is make the adjustment on the back right here, bring it up to 300 yards, and you're going to be dead on at 300 yards. So the way that they designed it is almost like a red dot in its adjustment. You're adjustable for windage and elevation. You have all your adjustments, and then you have those clicks. If you want to bring it up, sort of like a scope with a ballistic drop calculator inside of it. So really, really cool in the way that they designed it. Now, I ended up installing these on my AR9, and that's because typically with this gun, I'm shooting anywhere between, 25 to 150 yards, maybe 200 yards max. I'm not really reaching out there. My eyes are definitely a little bit older, so I try and keep it in. With iron sights, that's probably where I'm going to be shooting typically too, anywhere from 25 yards out to maybe a max of 200 yards. I'm sure I can hit my target further than that, 300, 400, 500 yards, maybe even 600 yards. But again, with aging eyes, it becomes a little bit more difficult over time. Also, I have the Holosun HS510C on this thing, and it has an absolute co-witness with these sights. So instead of a 1/3 lower co-witness where the sights flip up and they're kind of low on the optic, the absolute co-witness lines it up dead center with the optic, and it just gives me a really nice, clean, good-looking sight picture. Now, again, with a typical flip-up sight, what you have is a front sight bar, you have these two posts on the side, and your eye looks through, and as you look through that rear peep, you try and line everything up. The problem is that if you have that rear circle, and you have that front sight post, and that sight post is a little bit off to the left or right, you could really end up missing by quite a bit. And this eliminates that by taking two circles and then lining those two circles up, looking through and getting your shot. So what I noticed is, and you know, this is just for me, is that it actually took a little bit of time to get used to. I thought because, you know, lining up the two circles, it was going to be perfect, and it wasn't. I was actually missing shots at first, and I was like, what the hell's going on? I couldn't figure it out. After I got some time and I just kind of relaxed my eyes and just kind of let it be, and I looked through everything and it didn't really force it and just kind of, you know, let the two merge together. After that, I mean, I was hitting perfect every single time, and I just was really impressed with it overall. Now, when it comes to build quality, these are also steel iron sights, so, you know, they're not polymer sights. They have a real nice flip to them. It's a nice positive click, so you bring them down, they stay down. They're not going to pop up just by banging the rifle, dropping the rifle, or anything like that. When you flip them up, just grab them, flip them up. They have a nice positive and tight lock. You know, there's still a little bit of a wiggle to them as they come back, but they're actually fairly tight, even tighter than some other optics or other flip-up iron sights that I have. So they feel really good. Flip up, flip down, and they are very low profile. So if you want to be able to put these underneath an optic, you can do that. I believe they also sell these in a 90-degree offset, possibly a 60-degree offset. So if you want offset sights, maybe you're running a magnified optic or something like that, I believe they have that for this as well. They also have one, believe it or not, that attaches to a compensator that they have. I actually have the compensator right here. So they have some that attach to a compensator like this right here, and that will extend your sight picture. So if you only have, let's say, a 12 or 13-inch rail, but you have a 16 or 18-inch barrel, that'll get your excuse me, not your sight picture, but your sight radius out quite a bit further. The further the sight radius, the more accurate you're going to be in your shots. So being able to extend that out is pretty cool too. So they have different variants of this as well. Okay, so on to the good and bad. I mean, there's good and bad in everything, right? So let's go ahead and start with the good. The good is that I wouldn't change anything about these sights. The materials, the craftsmanship, you know, the attention to detail that they had, and all of the different unique aspects of these sights are fantastic. I absolutely love these sights. And so when I say that I think they're the best backup iron sights that you can get, I absolutely and truly mean that. The only downside that I can see to these sights is that they're fairly expensive. If you're talking about Magpul M-Bus Pro sights, which are also steel sights, but I guess not really comparable since they use a front sight post and a different sighting system. Still, when you're talking about the Magpul M-Bus Pro, I think as a set, these come in at about $80 more than the Magpuls. You want to make sure that, you know, you see what time this video is made or the date that this video is made, because obviously prices come down over time, and that might not be the case the time you're watching this video, but at the time I'm making this video, these are still significantly more expensive than what I would consider to be the leading backup iron sight on the market today. So that's something that you would have to consider. Obviously, if you have a bigger budget than most people, then, you know, go right ahead. But if you have a smaller budget, you might have to save. So that would be my only downside, is that they are a bit costly. So anyway, guys, these are by Ultradyne again. They are American made, an American company. They design them here in America. They build them here in America. So it's an American made company. Great product, very unique, and definitely worth checking out. So I want to thank you all very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. Please like, subscribe. You guys have a great day.